you guys? It's your girl Carly. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. If you're new here, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. I post videos every single week and I would love to have you in the next one. Today, we are doing a life update chit chat situation, okay? We have not done one of these in a very hot minute. I actually think the last one that we did was right when I graduated school, which was I think this-ish time last year. I graduated April, end of April. So it's like March, end of March. So we're kind of on par with a 1 year life update situation. Before we dive into the rest of the video, I would just like to say that it is so windy outside. We're going through like a spring storm in Edmonton right now. So if you hear things like whooshing in the background, I'm sorry, it's the wind. I have no control over it. But without further ado, let's get into the video. First things first, I want to talk about the apartment. You guys over on Instagram have asked me, you know, when are we getting an apartment tour? What's happening with your apartment? Like, show us more of your apartment. And I want to, okay? I want to show you the apartment. However, there are still things that I don't have. I don't have a TV unit, like a media unit. I don't have a living room table. As you can see, this is still a disaster because I don't have a kitchen table. I don't have kitchen chairs. I ordered a bench. Like, I don't have any of that kind of stuff. I am slowly getting things together. Obviously, I have a couch, which was a big thing that we were missing last time. I have this sideboard back here, which you guys have seen on Instagram probably a lot now at this point, but it's just this sideboard. There is usually a door that is in the middle. However, the hinge and the screws would just not go in when we were trying to build it. And I was like, you know what? At least it's the one in the middle. And now I kind of have it as like a peekaboo display. It just worked out in my favor, I guess. But the living room, I would say, is the place that is the most like done and put together. So I've been thinking about this and I'm like, do I do room by room types of tours? I've seen other YouTubers do this before where they do like a living room breakdown and they'll do a kitchen breakdown and then like the bedrooms and then the office type of thing. But I don't necessarily know if you guys would want that or if you would like to just see it in like one big video. I'd love to know. So if you guys have a preference, like let me know down below so I can do it for you. If you guys want the individual rooms, I can start kind of like showing you. The hardest part about giving you guys an apartment tour is that like it's actually just not done yet and I can't show you a lot of the things. Like I said, the whole dining room or like where my kitchen, the rest of my kitchen is supposed to be, has nothing. It literally has nothing. I built my coffee station yesterday, which you guys will see me do a whole like coffee station / bar makeover on YouTube. It will be coming soon. There is that piece of furniture, I guess, in the dining room / kitchen area. But besides that, there's like nothing else there. I bought 2 garbage cans and that's it. So a coffee station and 2 garbage cans is all the dining room has to offer. Besides that, living in this apartment has been great so far. This is the first time I've ever lived alone, which was definitely I would say something that I needed to get used to when I first moved in here. When I first moved in, like right in January, I was like, this is so fantastic. Like I get to live on my own and I have my own space and all of this and like, this is great. And it was really great until probably like the 3rd week of January where I was like, I'm so lonely. And I think that's a big thing because if you guys like listen to the podcast or you've listened to me on other people's podcasts, you guys would know that I normally talk about how I was raised by like a pack. So like I saw my whole family every day. Obviously like pre-pandemic, I was seeing my friends all of the time and like I just had a really big social life. Now going into the pandemic, like my social life obviously dwindled. And I was kind of okay with it because I was still living at home with my mom. I saw my mom and my sister and like some of our family and like my friends sometimes when restrictions like weren't as, I guess, structured as they were in December to basically kind of now-ish. I still had that like interaction and I was still like going out and seeing people. And then going from that to literally being alone was an adjustment for me. It was kind of shitty. I won't even say kind of shitty. It was absolutely shitty. I went through a really rough week. It changed a lot for me and I started to create like new habits and prioritize things and changed a lot of things like in my business and how it runs and the communication that I have and stuff like that. And now everything is for the better, but at the time that was awful for me. Like I felt so horrible. And I think it's a combination of being alone and also being lonely. Because if you guys listen to the podcast, you guys would know that I'm also doing a dating detox. So like I'm not seeing men or women. I'm not like hanging out with anybody like in a dating sense. I'm not hooking up with people. I'm not going on dates. I'm not doing all these things. And like I mentioned too, like Edmonton was on new restrictions starting in December, and so obviously in January they were still in like full play. So like our restaurants weren't open, and like, you know, gyms, like stuff like that, like places you could basically like gather with your friends weren't open. And at this time too, I had just moved in and I had to do like my 14 days of basically not seeing anyone because I just saw a bunch of people like when I was moving and all of that. So I had no cohort and I was just lonely. Like I was lonely and I was alone, which I think really compounded on top of each other to make for a very rough time for me. I mean, I am not like that anymore. I'm very lucky that I actually have people in my cohort that I see every single week. We hang out every single Thursday, which I think is fantastic for me because I see like people often, you know what I mean? Often. I get to hang out with people, and the thing that I actually love about my cohort, specifically like in my specific situation, is that we all live alone. So because of that, if you guys are confused with like what I'm talking about, here's like a crash course on like Edmonton's and Alberta's cohort system. If you live alone, you can have a cohort, which means you can see other people outside of your household. If you live in a house with other people, those people are your cohort. So technically, you can't go to a restaurant with someone who is outside of your cohort. You can't hang out with someone who is outside of your cohort, XYZ type of thing. Because I live alone, I'm allowed to have a cohort. So that means I can have two people who are outside my household, because my household is just me, that I can see. So because we all live alone, that means we can actually do like location switching, which I think is like the biggest thing. So instead of, for me living alone, and like for example, if they didn't, they would always have to come here. I would never be able to go there because they would have roommates. Actually, they wouldn't actually even be able to hang out with me because they would have roommates, so that wouldn't work. But you get what I'm saying? So we all live alone and we're able to like apartment swap. I feel like I had a whole word lined up there and it was just not, it just didn't translate. So I think that has been awesome for me because I can like see people and have some like sense of a normal time. And then also too, like we are watching shows like simultaneously together. So we'll watch the show, we'll like discuss it in person, we'll like send all of the updates to our group chats and like all of that. And I think that also is very beneficial for me because it helps me have that like interaction with people. Next up, the next like fun addition that I want to talk about is my visa. This has been a conversation that I've had on YouTube a couple times here. I've talked about my O1 visa and my immigration process, and I think the last time we kind of had an in-depth conversation about this was my update when I was graduating, because I really still had full expectancy to be moving to the US in August of last year. Obviously then shit hit the fan and the world, like, you know, went to shit. I really dove deep into the type of visa that I'm getting, my lawyer, the information around it, XYZ. So if you're interested, I'll throw it in a card like wherever it goes up so that you guys can like watch that video, because I do explain it really in depth, and I will not be explaining it in depth in this like update. But if you guys are interested, I'll throw it up so you can watch it. But the basics of it all is that I would like to go on an O1 visa, which is for people of extraordinary abilities. I actually have been talking to a couple other lawyers and just like watching like videos and consuming more information about it, talking with people on Clubhouse. And I also have the option to go, I think it's on a E2, I think it's called. And that basically is like an O1 visa, so like people of extraordinary abilities, but as a green card. The big reason why the O1 visa thing came back into debate is because I actually applied to be part of Lizzo's Big Girls whole like tour team. So she's hiring dancers and models, and I did my whole application for it. I'm still waiting to hear back on if I got in, and if I do, obviously I'll be moving to the US, I will be working with Lizzo, and I will be doing all those things, which I think will be super, super fun. And obviously in that case, I will have to apply for my visa and do all of that. But outside of that, I, you know, am not on an apartment hunt for anywhere in the US or anything like that right now. I like my apartment. I'll see how the summer goes here. And I think I just kind of like have to decide what my next little bit is gonna look like just in my life. But for right now, like everything is just flowing. I'm just hanging out and I'm just having a good time, and that is what it is. The last thing I would love to chat with you guys on and update you guys on is my new posting schedule on YouTube. So a decision that I made recently was that I'm actually going to be cutting back content on a lot of my platforms. I'm doing this specifically because I am very overwhelmed. I have a lot of things going on behind the scenes in terms of like business and school stuff and all of that. And so I made the decision that I can no longer sustain putting out 2 videos a week, 2 podcasts a week, a post every single day on Instagram, and a post every single day on TikTok. It is just too much content. That's like literally what 30, 60, 24, 68, 76 pieces of content or something like that, maybe 80, close to 80 pieces of content every single month. That is like not even including the sponsored content that I work on or anything else. And so I was really just burning myself out, and I made the decision to no longer do that. And so I have decided to only post once a week on YouTube. Now you guys might be like, that's not a big deal, but it was a big deal to me because something I do struggle with is letting myself down. I set these standards for myself where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be doing this, and it's great to think that way, and I hit that goal sometimes. However, I get very overwhelmed with it too, where I feel like I'm a failure and I'm letting myself down if I am not hitting these 2 videos a week or these 2 podcasts a week or posting every single day. So instead of like continuing to work myself into the ground, what I decided to do is just rework the schedule because I have the freedom to do that. So I will be pulling back. I will be posting 1 YouTube video a week, 1 podcast a week, every other day on Instagram, and then I haven't really figured out my TikTok schedule yet. We'll see how I kind of feel about the platform later, probably after this video comes out, but I'm very excited to take the step back and create better content for you guys versus a lot of content. I'm very excited for that. I really hope that I see the reflection in my life, in my stress levels, in my productivity. Hopefully I get to see my business actually grow versus like I feel like running the rat race and like trying to catch up with it. That is an update on like my posting schedule, specifically here on YouTube and everywhere else. And I hope you guys appreciate that. I hope you guys are fine with that. I hope I don't let you down, but I need to do it for me. I also said that was the last thing, but I wanted to just throw this in here really quick because I did say school, and some of you are probably like, what do you mean school? Aren't you graduated? I am graduated. I graduated this time last year. However, something that I recently just picked up was the GMAT study guide. You can't see it, it's literally like in there somewhere. Basically, I am studying for my master's. I've decided to go back to school next year, so probably it's gonna be fall 2022. So it'll be like a year and almost like basically 2 full years. A year and like probably 7-ish months, year and a half-ish before I go back to school. However, to get into your master's program, you have to have either a GRE or a GMAT score. The GMAT score is more preferred, so I will be studying for my GMAT basically this whole year. You don't need to study the whole year, but I would rather give myself length and time than try to cram it all 3 months before I have to like take my entrance exam. I will hopefully be going to school for a Master's of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Very excited about it. I think it'll be fun. A master's program is normally like a year. I really love learning, and I really think that that sector specifically, like entrepreneurship and innovation, is something that I will thrive in, that will be really incredible, that will be a great experience for me. And in master's programs, you do a lot of like networking, and I would love to meet more people. The world will be like back to normal by the time that that happens, so it'll be a lot more in-person networking, and I just think I would really thrive in that environment. Another thing is too, is if you guys have followed me on social for a while, you guys know that I eventually also will be going to law school. That is not something that is like super up next in my life, definitely not in the next like 3 years, maybe in the next 5, but I will be going to law school, and I will be able to use my undergrad and also my master's GPAs and courses and all of that to apply for law school, and it'll give me enough time to like network and find connections and like good people to write my letters of recommendations for law school. And then also I'm gonna have to study the LSAT and all of that, so I'm really in no rush, but my master's is something that I'm excited to kind of do and level up in my life. And obviously I will take you guys with me through the whole situation when I seriously start studying and share with you guys like the workflows, and you guys will basically have like college YouTube Carly back, which is like how I started my entire existence on the internet. So it's funny how everything goes full circle, and I'm very excited to share that journey with you guys. That is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. I post videos every single week, and I would love to see you in the next one. Bye!